I only have one rule. Everyone fights, no one quits.
Welcome to WTC Squadcast, a podcast focusing on international matters, tournaments, communities, and the World Team Championship. The WTC is a proud partner of the T-Sports Network, Best Coast Pairings, and is sponsored by The Army Painter. If you'd like to support the podcast and the WTC, please visit our Patreon at www.patreon.com/WTC Squadcast. Now, let's get on with the show.
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the WTC Squadcast Into the Squad. Here we get a deeper insight into the teams and how they work, what do they aim to get from the event, how do they form their teams, and essentially who they are and how their countries work. I'm Ashik and today we have the Switzerland captain, Fred. Hello Fred, thanks for coming on.
Hello Isaac.
Hi.
Glad to have this little talk with you.
Well, it is hopefully going to be little but nutritious in information to everybody. So, can you introduce?
With pleasure.
Yeah, hopefully. Can you introduce yourself a bit? Like, when did you start playing 40K? When did you? Let's start with that.
Oh, it was a long time ago, in the last century. I think I began with the Gen 2. It was the 90s.
Wow, so you started, like, I was born in 1990, so you might have started before I was born. Is that possible?
Yes. I have the Rock Trader book too.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm an old man. I'm an old fan of the 40K universe.
Okay.
But my first game ever played in the Games Workshop universe was a Space Hulk edition, first edition. Such a good game. This was this game that bring me in the Games Workshop universe. And after that, I played 1 or 2 years of Epic.
Mm-hmm.
There's this game with 8mm model, and after that I jump in 40K second edition.
All right, so that is pretty old. Were you always interested in competitive play, or is that a new thing?
During my hobby life, I have passed through edition and through version and through my positioning was different during the versions. In the at the beginning of this century, the 2001 till 2004, I've played many tournaments in France. After that, during 4 or 5 years, I'm only enjoying the hobby part, painting and playing with friends. And in 2012 or 13, I began another time with a competitive edition.
Okay, so you played a bit, then took a bit of a rest for like 5-6 years, then came back.
Yes.
Okay.
It depends with family. Which I have 4 children.
That's a lot of children.
Yes, and sometimes I have to stop during 4, 5, 6, 8 months playing or painting, because my children were young and needed to have both their parents near, and after that I can come back in the 40K universe.
Yeah, totally understandable. This is, after all, I mean, even though we enjoy it a lot, it is a hobby, and family and friends come first. So that is
Yes.
that is totally understandable. Uh, can you describe when did you said you first attended the Warhammer event back in the 90s, but can you tell me when was your first team event?
My first team event was the ETC in Salamanca.
That would be
The
20.
first team event.
That
Before that, I've played many tournaments, but in single form. And my first team event was the ETC in Salamanca.
okay. So how was that really different from the singles event because you attended a lot
Oh
of?
yes,
All right.
oh yes, it was so different. Cause in single tournament there is only two things: the win or the lose. By 20-0 or 14-6 meant nothing. You win or you lose. That's totally different in team tournament. You have to gain to earn for your team the maximum the point you can, and this is a very good part of the game I enjoy the most.
Yeah.
Even if the odds are bad for you, if you can gain 2 or 3 points for your team, it could be fast. It could be a victory for you.
Yeah, it can like even there have been many times in the past events where it's the team won or got a draw by literally at the edge, so it's 85
Mhm.
is the limit for a win or a draw, and there have been even in my team we got a win with just 87. So if somebody out of 8 people just dropped 2 points, this would have been a draw,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
so okay, so which one did you enjoy more? So you had been playing with singles a lot, but then you entered into the team event. Which one do you
Oh, I
currently
enjoy
prefer?
more the team event.
Okay.
Oh,
That
oh
seems
yes.
to be that seems to be everybody's thing. Everybody enjoys singles for many years, but when they enter their team event, there's like a whole different understanding where it's like, oh, this is the shit. This is the best thing ever. I just
Mhm.
want to do this a lot.
But at the beginning of the competitive era in 40K, there was only a single tournament. The team event began with the ETC in 2010, I think.
I think it's. Let me check. I do have my records in front of me, so I can tell you the first year of the 40K event. That would be 2007. But
2007, yeah.
so it's.
But before that, there were only single tournaments.
No, no, and singles is a different beast. It is
Yeah.
enjoyable as well, but it's like, uh, its team is a whole different ballpark. It's so
And
different.
we are with friends. It's so cool. We
Yeah,
are 8, 9, or 10. It depends when we have a coach or captain that play or not. And we are friends traveling through Europe for playing. No, no, team event is great. It's greater than a single event, my
yeah.
opinion,
No, I I agree with you fully.
by far.
That's 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 essentially the reason I am at this position. Is like oh, like the idea of the teams, and I felt I should be more involved in the tournament in this type of tournament, and then the rest was history. Okay, so it did meet your expectations. That is good to know. And so you recently became the captain of Switzerland after Sebastian's captaincy for a few years. Can you tell me how your team works? Like, how did you become captain? How does the Swiss pick their captain? Let's start from there.
Okay, long story short,
No, I do
no,
have time. You can tell all the story you want. I'll be here.
no, you know Sebastian, aka Vendir. He want now to do something different in his life. He changed his job.
Hmm.
He changed some things, and he want to get another player of the team to become the new captain of the team. And I was a candidate. We talk with the team, we talk with the other member, and hop, it was me.
No.
Easy.
Okay, so it
In Switzerland, we don't have a big comment dire,
community of for the players.
a big community, a big stock of competitive players. And in this small community, there wasn't many players that want to become the new captain of the team.
All right,
I
so
know it's a big responsibility. I have to do many things for the teams,
oh,
for the preparation of the next event, building the team, organizing the trainings. So it's something I'd like to do for the 2, 3, or 4 next years.
well, but it is herding cats. It if whatever you think of it will go, it's much more tiring. Yeah, I can tell you that as a captain of several years. It's like you think it will be easy. No, it will be fun. It will be great. It's enjoyable, but it is a lot of effort. So watch out for that. But how do you plan to pick your team? Do you have an idea in mind? Like, oh, actually, before that, how big is actually the Switzerland 40K competitive community? How many players are we talking about?
This is my job now, organizing the Swiss community or competitive 40K. But you know, in Switzerland, we have three parts of the land that speak three different languages.
Mm-hmm.
We have the French part, the German part, and the Italian part. So it's quite difficult to organize or just simply to talk together because the French part of the Swiss country had look at the French look in France to play tournaments, and the German part look in Germany, and the Italian part look in Italy. Just quite difficult to build a team, picking up the most valuable player of each country. So I'm now in a phase to organize the recruitment. I have I have built a Discord support when we can talk together, organizing a small event, organizing trainings, and to unify some clubs, some gaming group to build a community. But
No.
it's quite difficult.
Oh, it is. It's especially if people have
In
some.
the, and in this COVID situation, it was harder than expected.
As like it is, yeah. You think it will be? It's already hard when communities are entrenched, especially with when there is a language, at least primary language difference. But then it would be that would be especially harder when you can't actually have real life events. How many
Mhm.
players are we talking about? You smash it three different, divided into three different groups, but in total,
I think the community of the competitive 40K players in Switzerland at, at a certain level could be between 40 and 50 players, not more.
okay, at least it's not as small as some other countries, but we are not looking at, let's say, England or American levels, but it is respectable, I think. Like 40, 50
Okay.
players, it's pretty good. I don't have 40, 50 active 40K players in Turkey, let alone competitive ones. So I'm like, oh,
Okay.
I look at your numbers with envy. So
Okay.
how do you plan to pick your team? Do you plan to have tournaments, or do you plan to, let's say, just pick the 7 or 8 guys if you plan to coach that will make form a proper team?
So far, we don't have even decided how to pick the team.
All right.
I think it will be a process, and to have this process, we have to know how the event will be, where it will be, and how it will be organized, when, you know, all these questions, when that with that people can decide it, okay, I'm in or I'm out.
Hmm.
And when we have this information in the, I think and I hope in the next months, uh, then I begin the process of picking up the teams. and I don't know now how it would be. Maybe a tournament, but I'm not sure. I really don't like this process. We are not enough to play, by example, a small tournament with 3 or 4 team of 8 and picking up the best team. I think we talk with people, asking them if they are enough motivate or not. It would be a process.
Oh, I understand fully, and it's. I think you might notice this soon, but everybody thinks that, at least from outside, when they are not in the forming a team, they think that okay, let's make a tournament and just pick the best players in a meritocratic way. That just doesn't work because you might end up with the tournament's top level just playing as only a few factions where we need to form a team with 8, where those players might not be able to come to the event, which,
Mhm,
depending on location or time, those players might not be good in the team format, or like, let's
mhm,
say player A and player B, they might be in a bad relationship status, at least when it comes to, like, they might disturb the team dynamic. So it's like,
mhm,
it is, until you become a captain or this get involved in the process, you don't really, you essentially have to approach it. This is from Anthony Chu, the English captain. He says, like, you have to approach it as a football manager. You have to you have to be the boss, and you have to pick the people and just trust your own process as a captain, and
mhm,
not let outsiders affect you in that way. Obviously, we want to form a team with the country's best, and
mhm.
that is
And the
representative. But yeah,
and the real question is, what is a team? It is just
indeed.
a group of the best player from faction, the best Space Marine player, the best or a group of men and women who act, who can trust themselves, support themselves. It's the real question, and I think this question is present in other for other countries too.
Oh, it is. It is. Ex, there might be some other problems where usually they come to economics, but when the economics is not an issue, that's exactly what you say. It's the countries just reach a situation where, look, there is no objective way to form a team, and the captain just has to do his best. It's some people might get a bit annoyed by that or find that unfair, but it is what it is.
Mhm.
Uh, okay, well, I actually want to give not skip over one thing. This is not to disparage or anything, but we all know that Switzerland is a rich country. You are one of the richest in Europe. Like, right after, I don't know, from
It's a yes, it's a fact. Yes.
I think you match with Luxembourg or something. So, uh, does that so would would it be fair if if I ask you, does that well, economics play a part in uh, picking a team? Like, would, let's say, how many of your players out of ideal 8 would say, "Oh, I can't make it because it costs too much"?
But for us, it's not the center problem.
No, okay.
The other aspect of the real life, but it would be the most of the time the family
That
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 can cause problems for attending for players. But the financial part, it's not the center problem for Switzerland players. I know it's a fact.
Yeah, no, it's just I'm like, I want to learn. This is like curiosity for me. It's actually good to know that it is always nice to hear that, you know what, my family needs me, so I can make it to WTC. I obviously feel sad when one of my players done that, but I also feel happy because, hey, that guy is actually spending time with his family and is like being there when when they need them, which is a good thing, which is a wholesome thing. So we are not like a bunch of assholes that just want to win. We we
Yes,
also we also
yes,
care
having
about the
fun with friends.
yeah. It is a fun thing. It's like uh, so that's always like you know what, go be with your kid or your wife or your husband or essentially your mother or whoever. Be with your family. That's matters. Uh,
Yes,
okay,
yes, I agree with you.
okay. So can you tell me a bit more about like how many? Uh, you said that you don't have a method yet. You said it's a process, which is understandable. But I want to know more about the Swiss community itself. Do you host? Obviously, this doesn't really apply with COVID, but do you host tournaments in the regular, like not you personally, but the Swiss community?
Yes, we have now a reborn of the community in the tournament part,
Mm-hmm.
and since the beginning of the year after the COVID crisis, I think the turning point in Switzerland was July, August. Since yet we have two tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, two tournaments, and we plan to organize two or three more till June 22. But as I say, as I said before, we have it depends on the side of the country you live. We participate in French, in the French part of the tournament community, and by example, we have a tournament um, in Christmas days in France, and when we would attend with 6 or 8 members of the Swiss community,
Yeah. Oh,
and I know that German players of the Swiss part of the German part play regularly in tournaments in Germany.
yeah, I know the Swiss community does travel around. You come to my tournaments in both. I mean, there were just in the Alpine Cup this past August.
With two teams.
There were two teams, and you also. I don't know if you. I don't remember you personally, but I know the Swiss teams had been attending the Winter Team Championship in Zagreb as well. So I mean,
Yes,
you
2 or 3 times.
yeah,
Yes,
you,
the
uh,
winter team.
so which is not going to happen this year, unfortunately. But uh, you, so you enjoy traveling around as well, right? I mean, it is. Uh, can you tell me just your favorite part of this tournament, like of the team tournament? If you have to pick one thing, if I have to force you to pick one specific part.
It was, or it is, the part with friends, organizing things, building the roster, talking each other, preparing the lists. That this is the great part, and for sure enjoying in the event, playing with other players from the world Europe. The the preparation part I really like,
Yeah,
building the roster, all the all the discussion with the list. Yeah, take with we, which Space Marine do we brought? Okay, an Iron Hand or yes, no, why? Um, to a great discussions.
how many Storm Ravens can we borrow at the start of eight? Like
Yes, in Salamanca that was the
yeah,
case. Oh,
exactly.
mamma mia!
There were
It was horrible.
in
The
that event
flying circus.
there were more Storm Ravens than players in that event. I think by like
Yes.
220 something Storm Ravens to 210 players, and it's like, uh, so
It was my first attending at the ETC, and I brought a tow list, a special one with I don't remember 6 or 7 tow commanders with quad fusions, only to take down the flying circus. But my list was so atypical that we couldn't do good things in the pairing, and I had a, a horrible tournament. I only
oh,
score 9 points.
9 out of
for my first attending. So it was a horrible tournament in talking with points, but a very good experience
okay,
in
so
the wall.
so it didn't work. The mass fusion tower commander didn't work out. That's a bit sad, but understandable. So, uh, but even look, even you're saying, oh, I lost all my games because you have to with
Yes.
9 points. You like 10's a draw, so you have to. But then you still attended other events because and still will attend and literally became the captain of your country.
Mhm.
So that is see this is something I enjoy to hear because it shows that hey, even if you lose, at least for your first year, and also losing is not the end because you might build a list. Maybe you helped your team with that list even if you lost all your games. I'm not
Yes.
talking about you specifically, but it's like you might be maybe you forced your opponent to change their pairing process just enough so you got some victories out of it, which is hard to judge.
And after the tournament, we analyzed the result, and we have decided to say that it was not my fault as a player. It was the roster that was not good enough for the pairing to place me good. But now, it's a running gag in the team that the captain was the player who scored less in the whole history of the of the Swiss team event. So many times I hear, "Hey, Big Fred, you only score 9 points. Maybe this year I do worse." But blah, 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 blah.
Well, at least you're not one of the Croatian players called Ivan Rasic, who is, as far as my knowledge, is the only player that ended that tournament with negative points. So
Okay.
they lost. He lost all his matches at 0 points, and then his team got a late arrival penalty for 1 point. I think this is 2015. And it's like so he's like -1. So at least you beat him, which is a
Oh
success.
shit.
He's a
Okay.
okay. So you
But
now
after this first experience, I had better results.
so can you tell me about then the rest of your experiences with the good parts, the bad parts, and there are other events like after 2017. How did Big Fred do in the team events?
Hmm. The good. As I said before, the preparation part were every time a very good moment. Stressful,
Hmm.
very good moments. I have played in Salamanca, in Novi Sad, and in Zagreb. And the very good part are, as I said before, we with the friends when after the last game when we decided by example, to visit the town, to have a trip in the country. Um, that were very good moments to 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 have with the member of the teams.
Yeah, that's almost the the non-tournament part of the tournament is almost or better than the tournament part of the tournament, which is always interesting. Okay, so uh, can you say, let's say how do you think you can place the current Swiss community in the WTC standings? Like to rephrase that actually, where do you think you guys would place if the tournament was held, let's say next month?
Hmm. At level, at which level? As as the new captain, my hope for the next competition is that we if we can place in in the first 15th.
So it's like up, it's first 15, that would be, let's say, average 30-35 teams. So it would be more than top half then. So okay. So uh, you are confident in your ability.
Yes, we have extend our community, and I'm sure now I know very good players.
Mm-hmm.
But it will depend on many things, and after that, maybe at the end of the next event, you you will come by me and say, "Ooh, you tell me you to place 15, and now you are 28." But that's
Oh, I'm
life.
taking notes for everybody. Don't worry. I'll
I
literally.
know, I know, I know. But our first or my first objective would be the painting prize.
Ah, okay.
And the last event we were placed second after France, and for the next one we are trying to be the first nation for the painting prize.
I I know
And I'm confident too.
the Swiss usually like you guys usually get. I know I awarded you at least one in my Zagreb events. At least one of the because I also put that picture in the slideshow that's running behind at the moment, and so it's like it's one of. So I know you guys are good painters. Are also good players as well. Your past rankings, I'm looking at it as well, is 18 out of 39 of the whole
Mhm.
history of the event. So you are at the top half and that confidently as well. So okay, so I think you might actually accomplish that top 15 goal, like, and you probably will, which is good to see.
It's the objective, and we are with objective that can motivate us uh, to to develop our painting skills.
Yeah, good to hear. Can okay, so as sort of this is all. I'll also ask this later in the well and the link as well. This, by the way, this, I have a bonus question that will come after this, but how can people find the Switzerland community? You mentioned the Discord, and I think there is a Facebook page as well for the Switzerland.
Yes, you can join us via with the Facebook page. The Discord is a closed one
Mm-hmm.
for invitation only for Swiss competitive players, but with the Facebook page, you can join us easy, no problem.
Yeah, all right, so that will be linked in the description of the podcast. And if you are a Swiss player who wants to get into the for competitive community, you can actually, I guess, send them a message and uh,
Yes, and I and
yeah.
I and I give you after that the link for the our Discord.
All right.
And in the Discord we have a channel to organize the trainings, meetings, and yeah.
Okay, that's good to hear. And you one so this comes to my bonus question. This is something that I ask everybody, and sort of like a as a TR, the quality assurance part of everything, and to essentially pick your brains. Can you describe me your ideal WTC event? This doesn't have to be that. This can be anything and everything, to the taste of beer, to the height of tables. Because I know you are a big guy, and the big Fred is not figurative. You are very very tall. It's like yeah.
Yes, and I'm old too. I'm 47 years old, and so I prefer to play only 2 games per day.
Ah, okay.
First, first of all, and after that you can rest in the swimming pool with other members of the team. You know what this means. Okay, that's first. Only 2 games. What the dream?
It
In
can be.
in a pl- in a place where the accommodation is near the room where we play. It would
Mm-hmm.
be a very good thing. And we at this moment, I hope, with no COVID things, no mask, no, I think that just for to hope. And another thing to dream.
I dreamed a dream.
The dream. I really dream that we can have one next year.
Oh,
This is my biggest dream, that we can have a WTC event in 22.
oh, I agree fully, and this is we, there is a lot of effort going in, and
I
it's
know.
we are doing our best, and not just like me, Tom O'Neill. Like the community is really hyped. Everybody is building. Nobody is, let's say, uh, nobody is. Everybody's hopeful. Everybody's forming their teams. Everybody is working together, sending feedbacks on the maps to FAQ, whatever. And I I hope we can have a proper event uh, that's a safe and healthy event, obviously, and that will be fun and enjoyable, mostly enjoyable. And I think, yeah. So let's say you mentioned that only two games. You mentioned the positive things. So I also want to ask, what do you want to not see in the event?
Bad painted armies.
Well, I don't think we can control that, and
Yes, yes, I know, but
I
you
am one
you
of
you
the
ask me what I
I'm one of
don't
the
want to
guilty
see.
parties. I'm being defensive here. I'm one of the laziest painters out there, so I'll be a bit defensive on this. Okay.
Hmm. That's a thing. Another thing I don't want to see.
It, you don't have to force an answer. If you say that's fine, which means that we are doing a very good job already. So it's like,
Yes, yes,
yeah, it's like,
yes.
which is good to hear. Uh, okay, well, thanks for coming on. This was great, and everything we mentioned, the Swiss community links will be for our listeners, which will be linked in the description below. Do you have any final words for us?
Just as I said before, I hope we can meet together with other player, with other country next year. I know this at this moment in Europe there is different level of problem with the COVID situation, and I
Uh-huh.
really hope that we can meet together, shake hands, drink beer together, and have fun around 40K table. It was my it will be my last word.
Okay, but and that's a very good sentiment to end this podcast. And thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Zinc, and see you soon.
Yep.